Hey guys, welcome to part 4 of our series on marriage. Another challenging series. I tell you what, to communicate these things, to hear from God, to read His Word, to dig into it, and then communicate these things here on video is more challenging for me than for anybody else to hear, I'm sure, because I've got to dig down and say, God, what are you saying in my life? How does this apply to my life? If I'm going to talk about it, it's got to be applicable in my life. And so, I hope you feel that same challenge. I hope as you watch these, you feel that same challenge. And the challenge this week with marriage is that there's so many times when we want to fight out about how right we are. We want to talk out. We want to discuss how right we are. We want to operate in this court of law instead of living in this arena of love. And in the arena of love, whoever brings more love to the table, they ultimately win, right? And love is about loving someone even when they don't deserve it. It's about loving someone even when they're wrong. It's about loving somebody even when you don't feel like it. I mean, if you just like somebody or treat them nicely when they didn't earn it, or they're wrong, or they wronged you, or you don't feel like it, that's not love. That's not real love. But a healthy relationship, whether it's with your parents or your relatives or your best friend, or as we're talking about with your spouse, a healthy relationship, love always wins out. And that's the whole story. Sorry about that. That's the whole story of Hosea. The whole story of Hosea is that God does say to the people of Israel, like, when you wrong me, when you turn your backs on me, when you worship other gods, when you cheat on me, then there are consequences. Not only are there consequences for you, I get angry. I get my feelings hurt. I mean, that's the thing about God. He gets his feelings hurt. Like, he gets conflicted inside. Have you ever gotten angry at your spouse, or the two of you have had a fight, or just not a good time in your relationship, even if it's for that 1 hour or 5 minutes or one day, and you go like this to yourself, I'm not talking to her, hopefully ever again, at least for the next 24 hours. And the whole time that you're kind of holding a grudge and bitter and angry, and you're not talking, you've got something that's fighting inside of you that says, I should go talk to that person. It says, I miss that person. It says, I love that person. And what's happening is love is trying to win out. Love is trying to win out. You're trying to operate in that relationship in the court of law, and love inside of you is trying to pull you into the arena of love, where God is saying that's where the relationship operates. That's where it flourishes. That's where it's in its greenhouse and growing. When you're in the court of law, that's where it's being killed, because it's not getting the sun it needs, it's not getting the water it needs, it's not getting the nutrients it needs, because love is all of those things for your relationship. What I want to focus on today is in chapter 6 of Hosea and chapter 8 of Hosea, where God in chapter 6, verse 6 and 6 says, I want you to show love, not offer sacrifices. I want you to know me more than I want burnt offerings. And then in chapter 8, verse 13, he says, the people love to offer sacrifices, but I do not accept their sacrifices. And here's the deal. I asked God, why? I mean, it makes sense. You want love more than you want the things they do for you. Right? The sacrifices. I want you to know me and understand me and have a transparent, real relationship with me, where I talk to you and you talk to me, where we're both listening to each other, where we're both being real with each other, where time is spent with each other more than I want, you to give me something or do something for me and try to have this checklist of, look, God, I'm earning your favor, check. I'm earning your favor, check. I'm earning your favor, check. He says, you're not going to earn my favor that way. I'm not going to accept the sacrifices, because I know the sacrifices come from this place of wanting to check off this list, because you're not willing to sacrifice yourself. You're willing to sacrifice, in the old Bible times, an animal, but you're not willing to sacrifice your time. You're not willing to sacrifice yourself. In current times, you're willing to wash the dishes or take out the trash or help out with the kids or bring me flowers or bring me chocolate or, take me out to a nice restaurant, take me to a movie. But what you won't do is say you're sorry. Whoa, that's a hard word, right? What you won't do is say you're sorry. What you won't do is back down. What you won't do is say, you know what, it's not important who's right, or wrong. I love you. What you won't do is forgive me. What you won't do is sit and just listen as I talk, and just listen and just be with me and know me and love me. And I said to God, why are we more comfortable doing things than just being in a relationship with someone? Why are we more comfortable and apparently excited about doing things? And he said, because when we do things, they can be measured. But when we're just being with someone, it's much more difficult to measure. So for example, if I say I'm sorry, or if I just love you, especially if I love you when you hurt me or you're wrong, I don't get a point for that because you still think you're right. If I say I'm sorry and I'm looking for a sorry back and I don't get a sorry back, then I didn't get a point for saying I'm sorry because you think I should just say I'm sorry, even if I wasn't wrong and you were wrong, right? So I was being in a relationship. But if I go do and I go, okay, look, here's what I did for you. I brought you some flowers. I gave you some chocolate. We went out to a nice restaurant. I washed the dishes. I washed the clothes. I took out the trash. Check, 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 check. And you still don't love me, and you still won't say that I'm right, and you still won't back down, even though I did all these things for you. Here's the deal. When we want to live out our relationship in a court of law, then we're going to more focus on doing. So we can take those things that we do as proof, as evidence into that court of law to say, look what I did for you. It's all right here. It's all documented. You can't say I don't love you. You can't say it's my fault. It's got to be yours. But the deal is we're not, as I just said, we're not operating in a court of law. We're operating in an arena of love. And so we bring all those things that we do into the arena of love, and those weren't done out of love, but they were done out of trying to, kind of rack up some kind of points that wins out the day. They don't fit in the arena of love. It's not real love. Instead, what God is saying, both in our relationship with him and with our spouses and each other, is, you know what? If you're only doing to rack up the points, to build up the points, to win your argument or something like that, then it doesn't work because it doesn't fit in this arena. But if instead you'll love by forgiving when someone shouldn't be forgiven, if instead you'll love by saying you're sorry even when you didn't do wrong, instead you'll love even when somebody wrongs you, you decide not to hold it against them and love them anyway, then that's where, in the arena of love, which is where our marriages exist, where our relationship with God exists, that you'll truly win out. That's why he says, I want love more than sacrifice. I'm not going to accept your sacrifices. I'm not going to let you build up this case that you actually deserve something. Instead, I want you to spend time knowing me and loving me. And that's what we have to do with our spouses. That's what we have to do in our relationships. Doing things for our friends and our spouses and our relationships, that's good. That's good. But it all begins with saying, hey, when they wronged you, did you still say you're sorry? And you're like, well, why would I say I'm sorry? Because you're doing everything you can in that arena of love for love to win out. When they asked for forgiveness, did you forgive right away and you forgot about it and you didn't hold it against them in the future? Right? When they want to sit down and get to know you and be transparent and be real and tell you the heavy things on their heart, was your thought, man, can we just go to the movie? I want to spend time with you, but let's do it at the movie. But no, it needs to be real. It needs to be where we are giving up our rights and that, we are stepping out of that court of law and into the arena of love for the other person. All right. We'll talk to you again in part 5. Bye.